Guruvaram Shri Rupanu Brahmanam Rajasvasikam Narayanam Tam Prapanam Shri Guru Charanam Vande Ramana Pisthaya Bhutale Rupanam Gopakvidam Cha Kripamurti Narayanam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Sai Gaur Bhaktavinda Jai Rup Sanatana Bhakta Raghunatha Shri Jeev Gopala Bhattadasa Raghunatha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. So first of all, I offer my Lord pronouns and the Lord speak for spiritual masters. Nitlai Shivan Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev Nitlai Shivan Bhaktivedanta Shri Vam Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev and entire Rupan Kauri Guru Varga, and to all the Vaishnavis, to our guardians, and to especially Shri Jiva Goswami Prabhu, whose Theravatithi we are observing today, and Shri Jagadish Pandit Prabhu also, whose Theravatithi we are observing today. So now, yesterday we heard about the glories of Shri Jagadish Pandit also. So we heard from the Vaishnavas that Mahaprabhu, when he was a small baby, why did he take this Ekadashi Mahaprabhu? I mean, his grain prasad. And when he was in his youth, he instructed his mother not to break Ekadashi. And when he was in Jagannath Puri, the whole night, he kept doing this Harinam Sankirtan with all his associates, saying, don't break Ekadashi. So what is the reason? The Vaishnavas explained that Mahaprabhu is both Ashray Bhagavan and Vishay Bhagavan. So when he was a small baby and he wanted to take that bhoga that was prepared by Jagadish Pandit and his brother, that time he was Vishay Bhagavan at that time. So therefore we know for the Radha and Krishna, that Mahaprabhu himself, there is no need for them to follow Ekadashi. Like we heard yesterday, that Gurudev, he told the devotees in the mat, saying, regardless, just make some grain prasad for Thakurji, but they did not listen. And then we know what happened then. So much trouble happened. So therefore, Mahaprabhu, when he was Vishay Bhagavan, he took all that Mahaprasad. But then, when he instructed the devotees to follow Ekadashi, that time he was Ashray Bhagavan. That time he was in the mood of like Srimati Radhika herself. So we heard yesterday about that speciality of Mahaprabhu. And we also heard how Jagadish Pandit also, how he would do Sankirtan and how his service of his deity is being continued to this day. It is said on this day, it is said that same stick and that same jola means the bag that was tied to one end of the stick in which Jagannath was placed. To this day, that stick is still preserved, and even that bag. So on this day, they take that stick and bag and they go everywhere. They show it to all the devotees. Today, they give darshan to everyone. There's the same stick and bag within which Jagannath was carried. So everyone has darshan on this day. And also today, one special bhoga is offered. In this special bhoga, it is said each of the Choshati mantras, with one particular mantra, they offer this bhoga. So you can imagine 64 different mantras to 64 different mahantas. And this Malsa bhoga, very special type of bhoga with chipped rice and dates, good, honey, and all this is offered to each of the Choshati mahantas there. And this way we hear that, even like yesterday we heard that Jagadish Pandit's wife, she was very sad that Mahaprabhu was going to take sannyas and leave. So Mahaprabhu, he gave her this Gaur Gopal deity. And to this day, if you look closely at the hand of Gaur Gopal, it is said you can see a scratch there on his hand. Why? It's said that once Jagadish Pandit's wife, Dukini Devi, she was stirring some milk. And then when she went away, the milk was boiling over into the stove. So then Mahaprabhu, what did he do? As Gaur Gopal, he himself came, took the spoon and he started stirring the milk. Make sure that the milk was not boiling over. But then, by mistake, some milk spilled onto his own hand and it got burnt a little. So therefore, to this day, one looks closely at this deity of Gaur Gopal, and he's actually burnt. So what will Bhagavan not do for his devotees? We see Jagannath Puri, Jagannath is getting more than 100 preparations every day. But here in this village, where Jagadish Pandit established him, very simple prasad. But still Jagannath is so happy with him, because he is Bhav Grahi Janardana. Only accepts whatever one offers with Bhav. So in this way, they are also there in his Shripad. They are observing a very nice festival there. That they are singing so many of his glories. So also today is the disappearance day of this great like stalwart Vaishnava, Jiva Goswami Prabhu. Without him, who would have known who Rupa Goswami is actually? Normally we hear that why is Rupa Goswami the best of Mahaprabhu's associates? Because he fulfilled the innermost heart's desire of Mahaprabhu. He is Mahaprabhu Manobhishna Sanstapak. He is Sri Chaitanya Manobhishna Sanstapakam. He fulfilled this innermost desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How? By writing all these books. Lalit Madhav, Vitak Madhav, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjal Nilmani, Hansa Duta, all these other different books, Laghu Bhagavatamrita. In this way, he fulfilled what Mahaprabhu wanted to give to the entire world. He did so through Rupa Goswami Prabhu. Mahaprabhu actually did not write anything. Even the Sikshastakam, it was not written, it was spoken. Mahaprabhu spoke these verses, he did not even write these verses. And then Sarup Damodar Goswami, he wrote them in his diary and he gave to Raghunath Das Goswami. And then to Kaviraj Goswami. No, Mahaprabhu did not even write anything, he spoke it. Why? Because Mahaprabhu was so much absorbed in Srimati Radhika's bhav. No, in all these different moods. He's so much absorbed there. So how can he even write? His hand will tremble, he cannot even write. Once Gurudev was giving an example. The Srimati Radhika, she wanted to write one letter to Krishna. And then as soon as she wrote Ka, that's Krishna. As soon as she started writing Ka, her hand started trembling and she could not even write the full name. So how can Mahaprabhu possibly write these books? Cannot. Sarup Damodar Goswami also, you see, he did not write much. Only his diary he gave, because he is also so much absorbed in that Gambhir Leela of Mahaprabhu. So even he cannot maintain his composure. Because when you're writing these books on Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, he was in a neutral stage, Tatashta Bhav. Because unless one is in a Tatashta Bhav, how can he write? Therefore Rupa Goswami, he was anyhow he composed himself. And he wrote all these things there. Now only if Rupa Goswami would have been absorbed like Mahaprabhu, how would he have written the Upadeshamrit? Where he's saying Macho Vegam, Manasa Krodam, Jiyo Vegam. And then he's again saying now beginning from Shraddha, Nishtha, Rajya, Shakti, then Bhav, Prem. He was absorbed in the mode of Mahaprabhu. He would have only written about Mahabhav, Rood, Adirood, nothing else. But still somehow he became neutral. And then he composed himself, and then he saw that every jiva is not the same. Every jiva has different adhikar. So according to the qualification of every jiva, he gave pertinent instructions. That is his causeless mercy. But still, Rupa Goswami fulfilled the desire of Mahaprabhu in this way, while enlightening all the jivas. But who was responsible for bringing these books out of Rupa Goswami? Now, who was responsible? It was Jiva Goswami actually. Jiva Goswami was the one who actually proofread all the books of Rupa Goswami. He was one who wrote all. He was like the scribe of Rupa Goswami. Whatever Rupa Goswami dictated, he would write down also. This way, he was the one who, even when the Goswami books became very old, he was the one who had all these books copied again onto new leaves, these tal leaves. And he was the one who sent these books away with Narottam Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and Shyamananda Prabhu. With these three personalities, he was the one who sent them, saying, go and preach the contents of these books everywhere. And how did Jiva Goswami, how did he even receive this paper to write these books? No, that in itself is a history. Like how the Rajputs, they were having a debate, saying which river is greater, Ganga or the Yamuna. Jiva Goswami, he was asked to come. Because we heard from the Vaishnavas, the emperor himself was very scared. Because Vrindavan is called Fakirabad, the land of beggars. So he was scared that I'll also become a fakir. So please come. Jiva Goswami taken Kshetra Sannyas. So never leave Vrindavan. But he said, anyhow, before night, before the sun sets, you'll come back. And he arranged these special horses for him. And then he was brought to Agra, where he said, Gangadevi has come from the water that has bathed the lotus feet of Vishnu. But Yamuna is the Sakhi of Krishna. But still he described the specialities of Ganga also, he said. He said when the Ganga and the Yamuna meet and they flow, after they meet in Prayag, and then they flow, then even Yamuna is known as Ganga. She is not known separately as Yamuna. But then the Vaishnavas have said that actually when Yamuna leaves Vrindavan, she comes back. She does not flow again there, towards Prayag. She returns back. So this way, Yamuna Devi glorified so much, and then everyone realized the glories of Yamuna. And even the wind that blows from the Yamuna, one will get rain. One is touched by that wind. So then, he said, how can I reward you? No, Jews, I don't want anything of yours. But he said, anyhow, we must accept something. Then he said, okay, if you want, give me some paper, he said. Then he gave this paper to write on. Also, there is Jiva Goswami, he requested for one more thing also. He said, please do not kill any living entities in Braj. Because that time, many of the Muslims, they would go hunting all over Rajmata. So Jiva Goswami also told the king that you must promise me that you will not allow this to happen anymore. Because he said you must never kill all these innocent animals. So he promised that also, saying, all right, no one will come and hunt animals there. Therefore, with that paper, what did he do? He had everything written down. Like even now we go to Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi, there's Grantha Samadhi there. No, right behind Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi. That was the place where all these old books were placed into Samadhi. And then Jiva Goswami had everything copied, written down. So therefore, you see that if it wasn't for Jiva Goswami, how would we have even known that Rupa Goswami fulfilled the innermost heart's desire of Mahaprabhu? How would we have even known all these scriptures? Like Brihad Bhagavatamrit, then Ujjwal Nilamani, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Hari-Bhakti Vilas, none of it would have been known if it wasn't for him. Therefore, we are so much indebted to him. No. And you see, even Jiva Goswami also, he has also written the history, the ancestral line of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, if you see. He has mentioned how there were the Bharadwajya Gotra Brahmins from Karnataka, how their ancestors were Harihar and Rupeshwar. Harihar was into military and Rupeshwar was more into Shastras, and anyhow Harihar had Rupeshwar exiled from the country, and then Rupeshwar had another son, Padmanabh. Then Padmanabh had Kumar Dev, and then Kumar Dev had his sons. And in this way, Rup Sanatan and Vallabh Prabhu came. Why did he mention this? Because normally we see that if you're speaking about any Vaishnava, you're not supposed to think about his his bloodline. No. The glories of the Vaishnava lie in his speciality, in his teaching, not in his bloodline. But still, why has Jiva Goswami mentioned? Why has he written this? Himself he has written. Why? So it is explained that some were actually doubting if Sanatana Goswami was a Brahmin. For that reason he wrote this down. It is said that some were saying that actually, since Sanatana Goswami, in many places he said, oh, I'm so fallen. He said, like, no, the humility of a Vaishnava, no. He said, oh, I'm more fallen than the worm found in the ditch. No. And Sanatana Goswami also, he told Gopal Bhatta Goswami, don't write my name there in Hari-Bhakti Vilas. You must mention your name as the compiler. Because I've associated with the Muslims so much, it's not proper that you mention my name there. And also we see in Jagannath Puri also, he would never go on the main road also. You know that history, you know? That when he would walk on the beach, on the sandy banks, then he had so many sores on his feet. And Mahaprabhu said, why? Because he said, if any Panda sees me, then he will fall from his caste. Therefore I took the other way around. And he would not go inside the Jagannath temple also. He'd only look at the Sudarshan Chakra on top, and he'd offer his pranams and silently leave. So actually some were even saying that maybe he's not even Brahmin. Jiva Goswami, when he heard this, he said, how can I tolerate this? Therefore then he wrote the entire genealogical line of Rupa and Sanatana. So for this reason he said, saying that he only spoke out of his humility, he said that. Saying, oh, I'm like a Muslim, but he's not really a Muslim, he's like high class Brahmin. So therefore we see Jiva Goswami has always done this. What has he done? Like Gurudev says, he's the Tattvacharya. What has he done? This river of Bhakti is very pure. No, it's very pure. But we must make sure that the drain water does not enter inside. So what did he do? He covered both the banks of the river with these stones of Tattva and Siddhanta. Made sure that none of that will affect the flow of the river. Like we see, even in Satsandarbhas also, like this Tattva Sandarbha, Bhagavad Sandarbha, Paramatma Sandarbha, they speak of Sambandha. Saying what is the Sambandha that every Jiva has towards Maya, towards Krishna, towards each other, towards Krishna's potencies. And then he said this Krishna Sandarbha is more like Abhideya, where he's explained the different forms of bhakti that leads to the attainment of prem, which is found in Priti Sandarbha. Then he did Kama Sandarbha, the commentary on the Bhagavatam. He did everything that we need to know. And Gopal Champu is like the cream of all his literature. Gurudev said this he wrote in Golok Vrindavan. This when he was present in Golok Vrindavan, there he wrote this book. Like even Param Gurudev, when he heard this Dambandhan Leela, he get completely overcome by ecstasy. His Rasa Sattvic bhavas overcame him and he was like rolling on the ground. Just rolling on the ground. Even now if you go to the Mathura Math, if you ask anyone, where did this incident happen? Param Gurudev listened to Gurudev speaking this history and rolling on, and they'll all say, oh, they point to the back of the temple, here at this place. Because we know, the back of the temple, that was where Param Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir was. No, so he's rolling on the rock completely there. So it's all in Jiva Goswami's books. Gurudev said, just to read all of Jiva Goswami's books will take so many lifetimes. And to practice all the teachings given by him in his books will take so many more lifetimes, he said. So we're so much indebted to him. And we see, beginning from his very life, we see how he was so much drawn to Mahaprabhu. How when Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan, anyhow, he went through Ramkeli. And there everyone came to see Mahaprabhu. In Rupa Sanatana Goswami, they offered this small boy at his lotus feet, saying, please accept this Jiva. Just like we worship the Ganga with the water of the Ganga, we're worshipping you with this Jiva. Then immediately Jiva Goswami started sucking on his toe. Even Kavi Karnapur Goswami did the same thing, he was sucking on Mahaprabhu's toe. And Mahaprabhu said, chant Harinam, Harinam. He did not chant. Mahaprabhu said, I made everyone chant the entire world, but I cannot make this small baby chant. And Sarvadhamana Goswami said, that's because you've given him initiation. So how can you recite that mantra out loud? And then we know who that small boy was. He was Kavi Karnapur Goswami himself. He wrote such wonderful books. So Jiva Goswami also, he started sucking on Mahaprabhu's toe. Then Mahaprabhu picked this boy up and embraced him tightly to his chest. And then he said, this boy, when he will come of age, he will be one of the greatest scholars the world has ever seen. And then this way, he told Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, look after this boy. And then we know, Sanatana Goswami told, he looked at Mahaprabhu with all his devotees. He said, it's not proper to go to Vrindavan with so many people. Why did he say that? Because he got scared that Mahaprabhu, along with all his associates, maybe he's going back to eternal, like Shvetadvip. So anyhow, he convinced Mahaprabhu to return again. So then we know that when Rupa Sanatana Goswami left, Rupa Goswami left some money for Jiva Goswami's education, and he also left some money for Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami used that as a bribe. Normally, you're not supposed to give bribes. Accept or give bribes. It's not very good. But we see in the case of pure devotees, even giving and accepting bribes, it becomes like a good quality. No, you should never speak lies. But Vasudeva Balaji spoke lies. He told Kansa, a daughter was born, not even a son. So he spoke lies. So is this proper? So for the sake of Krishna, one can even take or accept bribes and even speak lies also. There's no harm in that. So in this way, Jiva Goswami, when his uncles left, the Musalman emperor was so angry. He was so angry at him, saying, your uncles have left me. Now who will look after my kingdom? And he wanted to arrest Jiva Goswami because you know how the Muslims are, very merciless. But then Jiva Goswami, he had these deities of Krishna and Balaram. And he would always look after them. So Krishna and Baladev himself, they would guard his house. They would make sure that none of the Muslims could do anything. As soon as the Muslims would come, they would fall asleep. They could not even touch him also. And this way, Jiva Goswami, his uncles had established so many temples, so many sadhus would come there. So even for them, he arranged Mahaprasad and everything there. Like the Vaishnavas, once they explained, what is so special about the Panihati festival? What is so special? The speciality of the Panihati festival is that so many thousands of people were fed Mahaprasad. In Kali Yuga, this is the best means of changing people, just feeding them Mahaprasad. You see, normally we said Harinam Sankirtan is the best. But people, they're not even used to do Harinam Sankirtan also. Like we see in the afternoon, sometimes they're just sitting here, they don't even come down. But then for Mahaprasad, everyone will honor Mahaprasad. Therefore, that is the easiest way to preach. So that's what Jiva Goswami did also. Just arrange Mahaprasad for everyone. But where did he get the money from? He said Krishna and Baladev himself would give him money to arrange Mahaprasad for everyone. Like recently we heard, the Vaishnavas, they asked Gurudev. Gurudev told the Vaishnavas, you must arrange this parikrama and everything. The Vaishnava said, where will I get this money from? Who will arrange this necessary thing, all these necessary things? And Gurudev held his hand out like this. He said, who's it? Gauri Singh is giving. Srimati Radhika herself is giving. So similarly, we see here, Krishna and Baladev, Radharani themselves were giving Jiva Goswami whatever he needed. And this way, when he came of age, his mother was very attached to him. He said, no, I have to leave. Then we heard that he went to Nityananda Prabhu, went to Mayapur, and everyone had left. They could no longer tolerate separation. And like we see that Mahaprabhu, he had told Vishnupriya Devi that, your son is coming, you must bless him. And then Vishnupriya Devi, it is said, she would never look at anyone. Even in the morning before the sun would rise, she would go in the Ganga, bathe and return with the wet cloth on. But then when Jiva Goswami came, immediately she placed her feet on his head. Said, I got this dream. Mahaprabhu said this. And she even made him honor Mahaprasad. How would she offer bhoga? Every grain of rice she would wash with her tears and then she would offer like little bhoga. And then she gave everything to Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami honored that Mahaprasad immediately overcome by prayer. So this way Nityananda Prabhu took it parikram everywhere. And then he said, now I'm offering you to Vrindavan. Because this Mahaprabhu has offered the entire family to Vrindavan. So I'm offering you also. He said, I don't want to leave you, but Nityananda Prabhu said, no, you have to go to Vrindavan. And on the way, meet Madhusudan Machastaki. As we know, he was himself taught by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made sure that he knew all the philosophies of the Mayavadis, Ramanujacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbaditya, Mahaprabhu, everything. So then he also taught Jiva Goswami everything. And Jiva Goswami completely proficient, realized in all this Tattva and Siddhant. Then he came to Vrindavan. Like we heard this Jiva Goswami who was so chakma, he's bathing in Vishram Ghat, having darshan. And then Rupa Goswami initiated him. And then we know how he served Rupa Goswami. So this way, Jiva Goswami is such a wonderful jewel in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhant. If it wasn't for him, none of us would have Gaudiya Vaishnavism would have just become like the philosophy of the Sahajis. It's because of him that we're all fixed. We're following our Guru Varga, following in his footsteps, they preached everywhere. Therefore, in order to be a Rupanuga, you have to be a Jivanuga. Only if you be a follower of Jiva Goswami can you truly be a follower of Rupa Goswami. And we see that this commentary on Brahma Samhita Gurudev published, and even he's written a very good commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this Durgam Sandamani, like this commentary. So that also we see the Vaishnavas have published. Harinamamrit Vyakaran, every syllable of the Sanskrit lexicography, every letter of this Sanskrit grammar is used in the service of Sri Hari. So, lastly, we see that his greatest contribution, along with his books, was this Parakiya Parampara. Now, the Vaishnavas always mention this name, Parakiya Parampara. Parakiya Parampara means this Bhagavad Parampara. We see he never made even one disciple, Jiva Goswami. He didn't have one disciple, but still the entire world is like his disciple. See his 3 Siksha disciples, they preached everywhere. Told them, don't take shelter of me, take shelter of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Lokanath Goswami. They preach everywhere. This Parakiya line to this day it's continuing, this Bhagavad Guru Parampara, along with all this Tattva and Siddhanta. So on this most auspicious tithi, his glories are innumerable, unlimited. So we can only pray that a drop of those glories, they touch our hearts. And that we make our lives successful. Vancha Gavathru Vishya Vipasindevacha Paditanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah.
Rakshuramitamena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhudeva cha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my Sistam Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of our most worshipful Sri Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Shri Guru Maharaj, Garupananda Guru Varga, and all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So again, this time of the year has come where we are able to glorify and remember this great personality, our Srila Jiva Goswami. Vaishnava giving this opportunity today to hear his glories. We just heard so many glories of Srila Jiva Goswami, and we'll hear some more from the Vaishnavas. So, for the meantime, I'll try to repeat some things I've heard. We know how Srila Jiva Goswami is very prominent in our line, and just now we've heard how Srila Gurudev has told us we are all Srila Gurudev's children. And Srila Gurudev always taught us that just as without Rupa Goswami we would not have known who is Mahaprabhu. Further than that, what is the glories of Srimati Radharani, glories of Braj, all these things, this this Braja Bhakti, this Braja Prem, all this, we would not have known if not for Srila Rupa Goswami. But then Gurudev said that, yeah, but if not for Jiva Goswami, then how would we have known Rupa Goswami and all his gifts as well? So therefore, very important. And it goes the same way. If not for Srila Gurudev also, how would we know who's Jiva Goswami and how he's giving this gift of Srila Rupa Goswami? The same. And it goes on. That's how this parampara works. If not for the Vaishnava also, how would we know Srila Gurudev? And like how Srila Gurudev is giving us all these things. So we're appreciating this tattva, that without mercy of those followers of the heart of Mahaprabhu, and those who are establishing their innermost heart's desire, then really we have no knowledge, we have no entrance to the heart of that person. So Srila Gurudev would say that Srila Jiva Goswami in this life and in the eternal world is always connected to Rupa Goswami, or they're always related. Now here in this Lila, he's like his nephew of Rupa Goswami, because he's son of Anupam, one of Rupa's brothers. But in the eternal world, he's always there. In Mahaprabhu Lila, of course, we know he's the eternal servant of Rupa and the nephew. But in Radha Krishna Lila, then he is Vilas Manjari, the dear servant of Shri Rupa Manjari. So, so many things, how our Jiva Goswami is helping us all Jivas in this world to be able to receive the gift of like Mahaprabhu as given by Rupa Goswami. And one thing is, that's why his name is Jiva. One thing is to show to us that he is the perfect example for all of us Jivas. If we just follow him, then our life can become perfect. And he has shown to us how, before even he met Rupa Goswami, of course, Rupa Goswami is his nephew, so he has already met him before. But before he really received all these gifts of Rupa Goswami, first he got mercy of Lord Nityananda, the Kanda Guru Tattva. When was that? Of course, we know when his uncles left to go to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu sending them to Vrindavan, then Jiva, he was like only raised by his mother. But then later on, of course, he grew up as like a great scholar. So in his teenager time, then he went to Navadvip. And that's where he met Lord Nityananda. And of course, by mercy of Lord Nityananda, he met all the associates of Lord Nityananda, including especially the Shakti of Mahaprabhu, the Dham Swarup, like, or Navadvip Shakti, this the wife of Mahaprabhu, Vishnupriya Devi. So then, by mercy of Lord Nityananda showing to him the Dham, meaning showing to him that up to this time, Mahaprabhu's Leela is going on. And he had darshan of all Leelas of Mahaprabhu in all these places. So here is showing to us a very important tattva that by mercy of Guru, by mercy of Lord Nityananda, we can have entrance to this Dham of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this Dham is also not different from Vrindavan. So after actually he's revealing this Dham, this Navadvip Dham, then Lord Nityananda telling Jiva Goswami, then go to Vrindavan. Then, because there's Rupa and Sanatan, and he will be assisting in his mission. And we just heard before that, he passed by Varanasi as instructed by Lord Nityananda. And so there, he learned all this, the darshan of the Vedas, and like how to refute all these Mayavad conceptions from Madhusudan Vachaspati, the disciple of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who heard everything like from Mahaprabhu's reputation to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So when Jiva Goswami came here in Vrindavan, then we know he became the servant of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami has only one disciple. Actually, he didn't want to accept any disciple, but he accepted one, that is Srila Jiva Goswami. Of course, we can say that if we follow Srila Jiva Goswami, then by Bhagavad Guru Parampara, actually we all desire to become Rupanuga. We want to become disciple, follower of Srila Rupa Goswami. So here's the example. You want to follow Rupa Goswami, you don't follow Rupa Goswami. He's not Rupanuga. He's Rupa Goswami. So how to become Rupanuga? You look at all and follow who's real Rupanuga. And who is that? Jiva Goswami, Raghunathas Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj, all our Guru Varga, Srila Gurudev. They are Rupanugas. We follow them and then we become Rupanugas. So Jiva Goswami, he's staying with our Rupa Goswami and all the other Goswamis here in Vrindavan. Where in this place, Sevakunj. Also showing to us that here in Vrindavan, this is the headquarters of our, like a training place. We're learning how to serve. And even in that place, Krishna himself also is serving. He's also learning how to serve. He's learning from the Manjaris how to serve Radharani. This place is very, very secret and have very deep significance. And that's where they stay. And there they're doing Ishtagoshti and nourishing their bhakti and writing all their books. So we know all the properties of Rupa Goswami has been inherited by Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami is not just the inheritor, actually, he's the protector and the distributor. So we can see how important he is. If not for him, then we would not be able to become and if we follow him, we also become inheritor of this gift. He is making this available for everyone. So, and it's now available, not just in that generations after his generations, but now it's going on. And it's going to continue in the future as well. So, our Jiva Goswami, he said that he got this service to proofread. But really there's nothing to proofread. We know how brilliant Rupa Goswami. Even like our Baladev Vijayabhushan is showing how these poetries of Rupa Goswami can even paint pictures. And if we just arrange the syllables, then you can see so brilliant. And the way he's composing all this is so brilliant. He doesn't need any proofreading. But it's just a pretext. So then Jiva, he gets to read all these books and really understand what it means. So later on he can fully protect this. So as we just heard, our Rupa Goswami, they have given this very valuable rasa, all these mellows, and especially the highest mellow, Madhurya rasa, and especially the very special, very specialized mellow of the maidservant of Srimati Radharani, like this Manjari Bhav. That one is hidden there as well. And this Parakiya mood, everything. All these mellows are very soft and very fragile. So for the people in this world, especially those addicted to logic, they can find faults to this. And therefore, Jiva Goswami is there. He's the protector. By all his works on philosophical works, he's there protecting all these very like very fragile like conceptions. So Gurudev once said that there's a philosopher, there's a tattvavit, meaning an actual, one can be just a philosopher who is like inclined to discussing like philosophy. But there's someone who's really a tattvavit, who really realized the truth, the Siddhanta. But more than that is someone who's actually tasting rasa, and that is rasik. So he said, with Jiva Goswami, he's not just a philosopher, he's not just a tattvavit, but he's a rasik. He's actually a taster of all these things that our philosophy is bringing and giving to people. So our Jiva Goswami, he knows all the details of the writings of Rupa Goswami. So he himself has written so many things. You can classify into four all the writings of Jiva Goswami. One is the treatise. Treatise meaning a very comprehensive discussion of a subject matter. So like the Satsandarbhas, the 6 Sandarbhas. And there he's very nicely presented. It's actually a very comprehensive, and nothing can be more comprehensive discussion of the Srimad Bhagavatam, actually. So there he's written in six treatises or essays or in works. So there is the Tattva Sandarbha, the Bhagavat Sandarbha, Paramatma Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha. These four is all about Sambandha. Then there's Bhakti Sandarbha, which is all about Abhideya. And then there's Priti Sandarbha, which is all about Prayojan. So this work, very elaborate discussion. If someone studies this, then you have full understanding, full overview of the whole Gaudiya philosophy, the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like this. So this is one treatise. There's his writings. Another division or classification of his writing is like commentaries, tika. So in tika is actually he's commenting on what is already written. So he has written commentary on all the special works of Srila Rupa Goswami, and this way making us to be sure to understand. So Rupa Goswami has written Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He has written commentary on that. Ujjwala Nilamani has written commentary on that. Even Jiva Goswami has written this Sandarbhas, the 6 Sandarbhas. He has written commentary for that as well, so people will understand what he is writing. So he has his own commentary of the Sandarbhas. And he has written commentary on the whole Bhagavatam. This is actually the Krama Sandarbha, a commentary of the Bhagavatam, but he has a very specific commentary for the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. So based on commentary of Sanatana Goswami also, the Bhagavatam. So he making commentary on Bhagavatam. He has commentary on Brahma Samhita that we can read in Buddhist Brahma Samhita. So many other commentaries he has written. Very important. Then by reading this we have fully we will be under guidance, then another type of his writing are about grammar. And so this very famous Harinam Vyakaran, we know. Sometimes because we hear how Mahaprabhu before was a grammar teacher. Later on when he became devotee, then he would discuss grammar and all only related to Krishna. Sometimes we may wonder how is that? If you want to know, then you can just have a glimpse of that by looking at this work of Jiva Goswami, this Harinam Vyakaran, where everything is all described or all explained according to Harinam, the glories of Harinam. And there's a few others all related to grammar. Then there's books on poetry. So he has written actually books which are full of rasa, but in poetic styles. He's written this Madhav Mahotsav, and this very Vaishnavas always mentioning this very beautiful book about Radharani's Abhishek. that was written by Jiva, telling the pastime, but in a very nice poetic language. It's all in Sanskrit. And we know this Gopal Champu. This Gopal Champu has two parts. One, like, part pastime in Braj, another pastime in Mathura and Dwarka. Like this. Total like 70 chapters. All written in this very specific, like, Sanskrit, like, poetry. So, Jiva Goswami is, we know how he's a great devotee, but even not taking that, like many scholars, they may not know how Jiva Goswami is a great devotee, but many scholars, they acknowledge how Jiva Goswami is a great scholar. He has written like 500,000 of like verses, and all like very nicely composed like verses like this. So from material point of view, Jiva Goswami is like very prominent, but especially when it comes to like this paramartic, then he is also like very prominent, and he is there as an example for all of us Jivas. And that's why he said like, oh, that's why his name is Jiva, showing us like if we just follow him, then we can become real followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can become the followers of Rupa Goswami and relish these gifts that they are distributing to this world. So today on his disappearance day, now he may have disappeared, but really he only disappeared from those who have no relation. They know that this disappearance is only disappearance from this world, but there he is appeared in the real world, and he's showing to us that, oh, we should also come with him. So on this day, we pray to him that we can have entrance into that world where he's serving Srila Rupa Manjari, or where he's serving Mahaprabhu as Jiva Goswami, and under his guidance, at the moment, we may fully understand all the intricacies of our Siddhanta and not be misled by many misconceptions that this Kali Yuga is offering to the sadhakas. Vansha kalpataru visvasam devacha patitana.
Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Gaurabhisi Namah Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Das Raghuna Echai Gosai Kari Charana Bandhan Javaite Vignanan Abhishta Puran Mahabhava Sarvadam Krishna Priya Variyasi Brahmabhakti Pradevi Radhike Tang Namannam Radhe Vrindavanadhisi Karunam Ritavahini Kripayanti Padabhyo Tasyam Mayam Pradhiyatam Bande Nanda Brajistrinam Padarnumavikshasa Dasangari Katurgitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dayal Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare. बोलो श्री गुरु महाराज की जय, गुरु परंपरा की जय, जय अनंत अनंत गुरु वैष्णव वृंद की जय, कृपा सद्गुरु की जय, और नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा संजीव की जय, भक्त वृंद विनाश संकरण शिवदेव की जय, भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, सर्व विष्णुव्रता की राज गोवर्धन जी की जय, गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जी की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, जय संकीर्तन भक्त वृंद की जय, ऐसे जीव सभी पूर्व दुश्मन के भाग इमामों से की जय, जय के भाग परंदय भक्त वृंद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, और प्रमानंदी। Today's this celebration rule is the birthday by Mahaprabhu's desire. This Sarva Savija came this world for the Dham. Mahaprabhu himself is came once a time Vrindavan, but he ordained in Vrindavan. Our Goswami here, without Mahaprabhu not doing anything. Jiva Goswami was childhood first time meeting with Mahaprabhu, and after direct he cannot meet him. At time Mahaprabhu has desired he is going to Vrindavan, but there is mentioned Nitandu with him young. Adya Prabhu, Bhadra Pandit, Sivas Pandit. Bhadra Pandit is Sannyasi. He is staying in Karamatpuri. But Mahaprabhu was that time really a moment time. That Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu, Adya Prabhu, Sivas Pandit, million crores of people, but they are not mentioned. There is another meeting with Mahaprabhu. They are not telling me Guru. After Jiva Goswami is became childhood, then Goswami Sadhana Goswami left. But he became young, then king is very Muslim king, but he is Sadhana is too much attachment. Now left, then he has desired. Next to Jiva will be young, very qualified is, now I am taking him. Our ministry, our governing body, working for, helping for, taking. There is only mother is present, nobody else. Mother is gone, uncle gone, everybody gone. Some Vrindavan, some other. Now, Jiva, young, but before he is, Goswami, Sadhana Goswami is all Grantha and books, Srimad Bhagavatam. And after the Granthas, all he is reading. Also worshipping there is Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan. Telling Guru Varga, he is playing with the interest for the British. But in return, he is learning this old Sanskrit after Shastra. Then Mahaprabhu desired, Mahaprabhu already accepted. Then he was telling, oh, I am going over the Dham, there I am learning Sanskrit and also Nyaya Shastra, Patanjali, other things. Mother, no everything, she is giving permission. He came and coming time, Mahaprabhu giving order, both sides, Nityananda both sides, also Vishnu whisper. Telling Vishnupriya, now your son is coming, give me darshan, give me place. This Sundara Devi know Mahaprabhu has three sons. Lord Narayana had one son, Brahma. Krishna has how many crores sons? Tarkapuri full of Tarka's sons. Many. But Mahaprabhu has not many, only three. Now this one is coming, this Sundara Devi. No, and this one is her dream, Mahaprabhu's avatar. After she is giving darshan, not only darshan, lotus feet is putting in because the sun is there. And she is not talking with anybody, no at this scene. Never. She has no time. Continue chanting, continue reading, continue sadhu Mahaprabhu. Now Jivavati is also talking and Mahaprabhu must see everything is telling. After Ishan Thakur, Vansivadan, they are helping. After Mahaprabhu giving order, Nitanpur came. And Nitanpur it is the Goswami. Mahaprabhu Yavuna Ilavatik Dham. Everywhere going Goswami. This story everybody knows. But after the Goswami has desired, I am never left Navatik Dham, never left Nitanpur. But Nitanpur say no, Mahaprabhu is there, you are going to Nitanpur. Helping Rup Sanatana. But after Jivabhushan Prabhu, no writing about Mahaprabhu, they have returned to any special glories. Like he is writing Sarsandarbha, like Varnamamrita Karnam, Gopal Champu, Padamosra, many books, but no writing Mahaprabhu yet returned to any special. Only Kaviraj Goswami writing, everybody very happy. They are giving all good instruction, or everything. Giving Kaviraj Goswami. But Jiva Goswami Prabhu, now writing anything, this thing is not thinking, this is not Mahaprabhu's. The books here, Mahaprabhu's, Vijaya Mahaprabhu's glories. Why Mahaprabhu teaching in Sarvam Pandit, Vedanta Sutra, Vedas, all scriptures, everything. That things his disciple Madhusudan Vachaspati. And Mahaprabhu giving order, you going Vrindavan before you going Varanasi, meeting with Madhusudan Vachaspati, is near to learning or Ved Vedanta. Mahaprabhu's Gaudiya, Nine Gaudiya or philosophies. Mahaprabhu what is saying. Then he came Varanasi, and there Mahaprabhu teaching because Sanatana Goswami 2 months. Also Goswami wrote there is staying like this more than 6 months. And then Madhusudan Vachaspati near to everything is learning, discussing how is Mahaprabhu teaching. Sarvapalli changing. Not one Sarvapalli in Jagannath Puri. Many scholars, many are Pandit. Otherwise you are repeating, you are cleaning, other attacking. No like this. Mahaprabhu teaching, everybody changing. Then they become Vaishnava. So his came in Varanasi, Madhusudan Vachaspati, then he is also preaching. Changing Mayavadis, philosophies. Then the Goswami Prabhu near everything is giving. After everything that. The Goswami Prabhu came and Vrindavan, then he is this Tattva-sandarbha, this Paramatma, Bhakti-sandarbha, Krishna-sandarbha, and Bhagavad-sandarbha, Kriti-sandarbha, one by one, dividing, and he is writing and reserving. These sandarbhas, he said is all Mahaprabhu's, all these things, collecting by also these things, this collecting, Govardhana Goswami is here. Govardhana Goswami only one sundarbha writing, Why? 4 months is Mahaprabhu with Jagannath Srirangam, that time he is teaching everything. That thing is also Bhagavata Goswami giving Jiva Goswami. So that thing is dividing and after he is explaining and writing. So this is not his thinking, this only Mahaprabhu giving 6 Ashtakam, 6 verses. This is not enough. This is not thinking. All Sandarbhas, all these things, Varnamamrita Vakaranam, this Upal Champu, Andrindam Champu, this Madhav Mahotsav, Madhav, Vidagdha Madhav, any granthas, they are not individual, independently not doing anything. Why? The Goswami is Usasha Vatsa here. That time they do Kirtan, Bhagavatam, classes, after Purusharan, one mantra, come back to me. Everything they are doing, but they are not writing any shastra. After Mahaprabhu giving everything, Sanatana Goswami was teaching 2 months, not only 10 months within Jagannath Puri. Also, Goswami within Mahaprabhu, not only first time 10 days, after two times is Jagannath Puri, 10 months, sometimes more than Mahaprabhu, everything is giving. That things is all are Goswami are explaining, writing and preserving. This everything is Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is here, and Mahaprabhu speaking. Mahaprabhu telling everything, giving order instruction like do this. Give us everything for everything is proper and right. Therefore, many scholars explaining and telling, Mahaprabhu not giving anything, only 6 Ashtakas, then 8 verses, nothing more. But Mahaprabhu giving everything. And therefore, this Shastra, Radharani is special glory, Madhyava, Upasana, Parokya Bhav, and all Shastra, Mahaprabhu, by desire and Mahaprabhu himself is telling and everything, writing. After writing, they are going, others sending. Last time, Jiva Goswami Prabhu is Vrindavan, that time other Goswamis are like December, Swami Raghunath Goswami present. That time, Srinivas Acharya, many times come Vrindavan. Ramchandra Kaviraj, Govinda Kaviraj, anybody anything is writing, that they sending Jiva Goswami. This is Gaudiya line here, Gaudiya Paramparas. Why Mahaprabhu is near anything come because Swatananda would say him. This is Prasavas, any this is words like Mahabharata, Pradushan, polluted, other Swajya, Swatananda Goya, not giving Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu himself is giving all instruction, all advice, order, instruction, all. There is everything is correct and perfect. Not anybody rejecting. So, Jiva Goswami Prabhu, first time Vrindavan came then, under the guidance of Jiva Goswami, his all books is Jiva Goswami writing and giving him. Sanatana Goswami writing, Sanatana Goswami giving him. This is proof to reading, proof correction for reading for no. Why giving? Jiva is reading after this is all is like one by one, serial by is all. Like they are literally remembering that anything is they are near come and present at time that this is writing. That things is made serial and also editing. Nice. Jiva Goswami Prabhu all correctly doing. That time, many Mayavadis, many other scholars came to Vrindavan. They heard Vrindavan has very Pandit Acharya, scholar, Mahaprabhu's line. They come in, they asking many questions. The Rupa Goswami had not much time. Madhu Goswami has no time. They are respecting and like is neglecting. Anybody is giving a lot of respect, glorifying, that means that is reject, not accept. So, our Goswamis are not wasting time. They giving respect, this and that, writing letters, giving them the voice. But Jiva Goswami can provide this. He is guessing. And taking that return his own certificate. And dividing them. Dividing means one is Khandon, one is Mandon. Only regarding their all philosophy is known. How they are realizing and understanding and accepting this is necessary. Somebody is debating, they are angry and against and running, fire, no, cooling and feeling and realizing. Therefore, the Goswami very smoothly, very carefully changing all. And also, he is how is serving this Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is giving class. All classes is attending. And also, his many disciples, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. And all disciples are, they don't know how serving. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami has no time. They are all time, Shankar Prabhu, Naam Gan and classes, and all time they are busy. The Goswami Prabhu giving all our time. He is giving time. He is teaching soul. How is serving Govinda Dev? This temple, Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan temple, Radharaman, Radha Vallabh, Radha Kanto, Rasbihari, all temple, Vrindavan, everything, Brajamandal, this is not only thinking Radhakunda, Raghunath Swami, like new giving his Swarup. No, Kusum Swarup, Prem Swarup, Man Swarup, is Vimala Kunda, everything. This is our Jiva Goswami rule by order and instruction. All Raghunath Bhatta Goswami disciples are everything remodeling. At time only ponds and lake alike, but no like it is nice stairs and nice boundary, nice everything. No. Raghunath Goswami by Mahaprabhu desire is Radhakunda Syamakunda is nice, giving order, instruction, and is with instruction and order, giving order is very nice. Every time, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami disciples are very rich and qualified. Really, no dham seva. So there is no you getting relation. Anybody come holy dham, staying in holy dham, they are thinking everybody serving me, they are following me, respecting me, will be my followers. They are like cheaters. They are not serving holy dham. Then how they getting relation with holy dham? The Jiva Goswami is engaging everybody within Shastra and within his instruction order. Like Jiva Goswami giving order, hey, Sananda, Holy Krishna Das, you grooming on me, you cleaning grooming. Hey, Narottam, you go, serving Gurudev and serving continue. Only toilet is not only roads, road, street, and continue following his footsteps, serving. Similar, ordinary other Sivaks are how getting real relation with Holy Dham. Therefore, the Goswami will instruct. Then this Vrindavan, Rajamandal, Manasganga, Haridev temple, this Baldev, Keshavdev, Govindadev, not only Govindadev temple, Baladev, Haridev, Keshavdev, and this Govindadev, all temple, all Kunda, everything is the Goswami Prabhu's owned by desire and owned by instruction. Why Goswami is near? Many people, these people come. But that people is not giving you service, then they cannot understand it. Serving Maya, ordinary word, ordinary things, then they getting his price, there's some respect, name and fame. But Brajadham, Brajadham service, Brajadham service for engaging. Like Janmaka came. 2 times, 3 times came Jiv Goswami Puru's time. Raghunath Salut is also seen making. That time, we are staying, how the sun, going, or arranging prasadam, room, everything with our program. Similar, this Rajabhumi is this like Giriraj Govardhan. Only not thinking the writing Astakam. Yeah, some Dasakam, yeah, 1008 holy name, Sahasranam. Yeah, this is only writing books, sitting and writing, this much not thinking. Now people have many idea, oh, they are only doing bhajan and writing books. No, sometimes Bhagavan, sometimes Vrindavan, sometimes Gopaldan, sometimes they are this Gokul Mahavan or Rajamandal points. And Krishna Rastati with this revelation. They are not only glorified. Glorified, this will be like this. One speaker. No. As this they are everything doing. They are giving instruction. This is Malari Kundu. This is other Leela everything. And they are making like Sanket. Government Goswami going there is Sanket is doing bhajan. Sanket nearly to little distance, a bhajan. He doing their sadhana. There he is looking all Krishna Leelas, how Srimad Radharani coming, Manjaris, Shokit Gopis, and where going how meeting with Dalila, they manifesting everything. So these things, Brajadham, therefore, Brajadham, Atmanivedan, Tuapadi Kari, Hoinu Barak Masuki. दुख दूर गल चिंता न रही যদি আনন্দ দেখি আর মন তেলি পুত্রকে কি জানি কি বলে তোমার ধামেতে হইনু শরণাগত so this Haridham Mahaprabhu sending everybody Mahaprabhu came first time Mahaprabhu looking everything in this circle then Goswami came and what doing there এছাড়া গোসাই যাবে ব্রজে কইলা বাস রাধা কৃষ্ণ নিত্য লীলা করিলা প্রকাশ Six Goswamis came, then Nitya Lila, eternal Lila, all is affairs, all is manifest, all is without Sevak, then Sevak, who is glorifying, who is serving, who is arranging platform and everything, because Sevak is most important. So this Lila Bhumi, Vrindavan, Sri Krishna Prabhu is Samadhi, there is eternal Vrindavan, all time present. Therefore the next, they are not going, they continue serving. Now also they are serving, and they are continue running, all Shastra, all. Anybody surrender, praying they are near, they are teaching everything. Helping. They not surrender, then they never reading their shastras, and then no reading, no touching, They no understanding. And Holy Dhamma is no relation. Therefore, Bhakti Thakur saying, ki jani ki bale tomar dhamete hoinu saranagoto. Holy Dham, they are no surrender, then Nam Seva is no relation. They are continuous service. Mahaprabhu like this, they are not by order. The process. King Holy Dham, serving. And like Gurudev, going. Sometimes all Bhakta Devata is Manas Yoga. Today clearly Manas Yoga. Today Radha Kundu. Oh, today Vimala Kundu. Some group with this. Continue going 1 week, 15 days, 1 month. But not cleaning only room with his own courtyard. Holy Dham, Krishna love me. Radharani is love me. I am only telling this Padamardana ki Pradana Devi praying to Goswami Prabhu have to service for all rules. But practically I am not doing them, only speaking. Vocal speaker? No. They are really doing. So now today is this bad day. But here to go on eternal God, eternal Leela Bhumi. But Mahaprabhu saying his Goswamis, footstep followers, they are continue present. With the Leela. Therefore praying, requesting, begging, crying is your present. Otherwise, only chanting Harinam and dry. I am not with any Guru Guru. I am alone. Then I will be like this. Brahmavadi? Yeah, will be Mayavadi. Many persons thinking, Nimityanandi, alone doing bhajan. But our Brajalila Brajadham, not like this. All Goswami, all big group, Brajavasya, all are commonly serving Radharani under guidance Krishna. Therefore, this Grantha, continue reading, and this much reading, this much practicing. What is saying? After I am following my life, is practicing. Then is generation come. Oh, unlimited satisfaction and happiness coming. This is not little thing, very big things. But this Brajamandal is possible very easy. They are continue present. Now, tomorrow next year, you go to Manande.